Hey, I'm just an old fat man riding around on motorcycles, and today I'm riding around on my motorcycle talking about dual sports versus adventure bikes. And I want to talk about a few of the differences. You may already know all these differences, but if not, come along. And if you do, maybe I missed something, so help me out. Moto Giant. So I am out today looking for some trouble. And by trouble, I mean just looking for something interesting to ride. And if I don't find anything, it's just going to be pavement. That'll be fine. I have a dual sport motorcycle. That means I can do both. Dual sport. The sport is pavement and off pavement. I know I've been into that discussion before about off-road versus on-road. A lot of people own knobby tired machines, regardless of what style of bike they're riding. If they're riding on knobbies, they get real touchy when you talk about off-road versus on-road versus dirt versus trail. In respect to a dirt, the dirt you might be riding on might be a road. So in other words, there's lots of county roads, at least in America, there's lots of county roads that are official roads. They're just not paved. So maybe it's good, in order not to piss those people off, it's good to talk about pavement and non-pavement. But beyond that, dual sports are good for quite a number of things beyond off-pavement. You could say off-pavement is maybe a majority of dual sport riders' non-paved surfaces. But a dual sport is depending on the machine, most of them are pretty capable. So in other words, you could do single track, you can do real off-road riding. Depending on the machine and the rider. This machine that I'm riding is a very capable machine, probably much more capable than the rider. And I prefer it that way. I just started saying that recently. I would much rather the machine be way beyond my skill level. I don't want to go into a place where I go, I can't get over that hump because I don't have enough clearance. Or if I go in that ditch and try to come out the other side, I'm going to break something, either on my bike or on my leg, because the machine is just not capable. And that is the true limitation to most ADV bikes. Most ADV bikes are going to be, not only have the bike itself as a limiting factor, but even if the bike is not, the ability of most riders to take a big, heavy 600-pound motorcycle and do some crazy stuff that would be easy to do on a motorcycle like this, or even a non-skilled rider like myself could take it into some really gnarly stuff and get out the other side, whereas only a very skilled, approaching professional rider could take a big adventure bike. And some of those big adventure bikes are very capable. They got lots of suspension, lots of ground clearance, and people make the mistake that in order to have an adventure, you have to have an adventure bike. And that's just complete and utter horseshit. And hopefully, if I can get my big RT rolling again, you're going to see that you can have an adventure on a street bike, a big, heavy street bike. I think, I'm trying to think, my RT is going to weigh in around probably close to 700 pounds. It's a big, heavy machine. Ideally I would have a GS or a KTM, you know, big KTM to take me across the country in luxury and style, and be able to do the off-road, off pavement stuff to keep my angry friends from killing me. To be able to do the off pavement stuff when it comes down to it. But you know, even then, I know my limits. I know my limits, despite the fact that the bike may be well beyond my limits. It may be well more capable than I am. At least I don't come to that, you know, that hill climb and go, oh no, the bike won't make it up there, because 9 times out of 10 it's going to be me. On this machine, it's going to be me. I saw, I think it was Moto Trek, one of his videos recently. It was pretty interesting. He wanted to show you how to get down this this crazy hill. I mean, it was rutted out cliff face almost. It was really crazy. And he wanted to show you how to get down it. And of course, it wasn't that tall. It wasn't like you were going to gain speed. It was you gotta commit. You're either going down this or you're not. And once you commit, you know, I would say, yeah, if I had to get down that thing, I could have probably gotten down that pretty easily. But my comment immediately was, okay, here's the real question. If you go down that thing and get to the end of the road and you got to turn around, how are you getting out of that spot you just got into? So in other words, you've committed. You've gone down that nasty thing that, you know, you might not be able to get back up on especially that big GS that he was riding. So, you know, what happens if you get down and, you know, the end of the world, you know, that trail takes you down to the edge of the Grand Canyon. And the only way back out is the place that you just fell off. And that's basically what he was doing. He showed you how to fall off of this short cliff. And that was my question. That was my comment. He never answered, and I don't blame him. I wouldn't answer it either. How do you answer a question like that? Oh, yeah. If I had to go back up that, yeah, I'm screwed. And he's a really good rider. He's not only a really good rider, he's a really good rider on that GS. But I imagine that if he had to go do that, go back up that same section, he would have some trouble. And not just that, even as good as he is, you know, he may crash going back up that thing 2 out of 3 times or 1 out of 3 times. You know, let's just say, hell, let's say 1 out of 10 times. 10 times of going up, 10 opportunities to go up this hillside. 9 of those times you make it. 1 of those times you don't. That could be catastrophic. So, you know, quite a few of those times where I've said, okay, yeah, is this really worth it? If I know the rest of the section, if I know, okay, well, this is just rutted out and washed out, and I know what's around the corner, it may be rutted out and washed out, at least I can make a decision then. I can say, I'm either going to do this or I'm not. Either is there a way around this? If there's a way around this, you know, I can make another decision and go, okay, let me go around. Let me take the longer section. Let me take the less scenic route. Let me, you know, you can make decisions like that. But if you don't know what's there, you're taking a big risk. I may have to pull out the drone. If this isn't private property, I may have to pull out the drone. I'm going to come back down. So, yeah. Oh, this is a nice road. It's hard to me to think that that all of this is private property. Because if all of this is private property, somebody's got a nice little spread out here. This is a nice driveway. My guess is that there's a house or two at the end of this. Because there was a mailbox at the front. Otherwise, I would think this is a lease road. Nevertheless, it's nice. I don't have to worry about a big dump truck coming down this road. Huh. Maybe we can find some hardwood down in here. Lots of pines. There's a few non-pines. Deciduous. Oh yeah, this is nice. And it's a nice cool day. It's a stormy looking day. I've only seen a few. So, yeah, so if I was riding a big, heavy, whoops, warning, security dog. Okay, we have reached private property. So, yeah, cool. I don't want to freak anybody out. I wouldn't want anybody coming out my property, so. But I am going to go park it and fly that drone at that little parking pad back there. I bet that little parking pad is where those folks back there stopped to get a phone signal. I wouldn't be surprised. Man, this is beautiful. I love woods like this, where you're basically riding through a tunnel of trees. Had that on the campus of the University of Alabama earlier today. You may have seen that video at this point. It may be coming out later. I don't know. I'm just shooting a ton of video today because it's a great day to go riding. It's nice and cool. It's very overcast, which I like. And anyway, ADV bikes versus dual sports. You know, you could say an ADV bike is a dual sport. But it depends on what the sport you're talking about is. Is it on pavement and off pavement? Sure, I would say all ADV bikes are both. But there's a few of them. There's a large number of bigger bikes that are not dual sports. They're off pavement and on pavement. You know, you can go down a dirt road like this easier. But if I was on a big GS, I'd be going a lot slower than I am now, because you got to stop. And it, you know, it doesn't matter what kind of awesome tires you got on a big 600, 700 pound bike, you still have to stop it. Don't have any illusion that it does everything as well as a smaller bike like this, because they don't. Trust me. That's always the thing that makes me choose to ride something like this versus a big adventure bike. If I want to do gnarly stuff, I need big clearance. I need several inches of clearance. 6-8 inches of clearance is not going to do it for me on a lot of the stuff that I ride. So, there's that. But you can see how much clearance I've got under this bike. With me not sitting on it, I can stick my big ass foot under there. That's 14 inches, 16 inches. With my big ass sitting on there, I still got at least 12. So even with my big 300 pounds on top of it, I still got lots of room to get over stuff. If I'm riding a GS, they've got a lot of clearance. Same with a KTM. Those big KTMs, they got a lot of clearance, but they also carrying a lot of weight. And when I'm on there, they're carrying a lot more weight. So anyway, I'm about to pull out the drone and do my thing. to finish up what I was talking about, ADV versus dual sport, I think what you're going to find overall is you're going to spend a lot more money on an ADV bike than you are on a dual sport consistently. So if that's the case, you really got to be, I would say, if you're looking into ADV bikes, you really need to think of that purchasing power, number one, and then think about what kind of riding you're going to do. Because if you get a big ADV bike to do trails, single track, unless you're a really good rider or deciding to become a really good rider, I think you're going to be disappointed. Now, if you're going to be planning on doing 90% highway, 10% off pavement, and whatever else comes along on that 10%, I suggest, yeah, look at an ADV bike, but look at a lot of them. Look at, KTM's, BMW's. I would say V-Strom is still in that category, but I don't know. Their clearance issue and their suspension is always. I mean, I had a V-Strom, and I've taken it places I probably shouldn't have, but it was mostly off pavement. I've taken it on some very limited single track, but it's so damn heavy. Hell, as far as I'm concerned now, a KLR 650 is heavy. So, you just gotta be realistic about your choices. And like I said, if riding 90% of the time you're going to be riding on pavement, nothing wrong with an ADV bike. And I think I was trying to say earlier, taking my RT off on some off pavement deals. Doesn't have very good tires for off pavement, but it has just enough clearance that I could crawl over most stuff. You're not going to see me on that RT on any single track. I hope. But also, I'm not going to be going down dropping off those cliffs either. Even on road, washed out stuff, there's limitations on any bike. Apparently on dirt bikes, maybe there's not. You can get away with a lot of stuff on a dirt bike that you can't get away with on just about any other bike unless you're extremely skilled. Okay, trials bike. Maybe that's the most extreme. Trials bike, 180-pound motorcycle that doesn't have a seat or a real gas tank. It's basically a bicycle with a two-stroke engine on it. That's just it. I would say not just that, but go sit on a few bikes, ride as many as you can, and don't limit yourself to one set of ideas. If you're stuck, all your buddies have got ADV bikes, and you're wanting to do something completely different than they're wanting to do, then I would say reconsider, maybe rethink, maybe talk to the people that are actually riding these bikes. Talk to somebody like me that rides a lot on a dual sport, and I'll give you all the advantages to a dual sport and all the disadvantages. This thing, I've done some pretty big trips on this, but it's usually less than 500 miles in a day. And I would say maybe less than 1,000 miles period in any one trip, just because it's taxing on your body. I mean, that's why I put this windshield on here, because I really wanted to extend my range on these bikes. But if you spend 4 hours at 60, 70 plus miles an hour, and that wind really takes it out of you, as far as it just beats you physically and emotionally, it beats you up. And to have a little bit of a windbreak here helps on the mileage. And even that, this dual sport that I ride, you see me maybe riding a lot in the dirt, but I would say 90% of the time I'm riding street, because I've got access to a lot more street than I do dirt. Even though there's a lot of dirt around here, it's not real interesting dirt. It's just long dirt roads. Most of the time it's just long, dirty roads. So, this is a borderline ADV bike for me. I tell you what, I've had a lot of freaking adventures on it, and I carry luggage on it like an ADV bike. I carry as much stuff, almost as much stuff as on this bike as I do on any ADV bike. I'm trying to think of what I'm going to be carrying on my RT. I got a trip I've got a couple of different ideas, trips coming up on the RT as soon as I get that put back together. And I'm thinking maybe another 10-15 pounds on that bike I could carry easily. And not only that, I can carry bulkier stuff because I've got a lot more room to move stuff around, strap. You know, I got the big 2 huge side cases and one pretty good sized top box, and it's not that difficult for me to strap stuff to this bike. So, you know, I could just about strap this motorcycle to that bike. It's so big. So, but you know, as far as mileage, a bigger bike is going to be a lot more comfortable on the road. You're going long distances, and I think that's why a lot of people buy those ADV bikes. Not just they have lots more power and they make their pecker appear to be larger, but additionally they're a lot easier on the road. So long distance rides are a lot easier on your butt, on your body. You got a big windshield, it makes things a lot more pleasant. So I'm gonna have to turn off here and pull my camera off because it's about to get wet. Hey folks, thanks for watching as usual, and make sure you check out, I've got some videos coming up hopefully this weekend. I've shot some interesting stuff this week in addition, and I just gotta find time to edit it, and if I can do that, you will see it this weekend, and if not, hopefully first of next week. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I sure wish you would consider that. And you can hit that notification bell so you know when I release the next videos. And as always, like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any comments, if you disagree with anything I've said below, let me know. See ya.